Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Discover Your Joy podcast. I am so thrilled today. I have a very, very special guest, and we're going to be talking about dream completion. So, let me introduce Nadia Krauss, an artist, creator, author, and the founder of Soul Health Mentor and Company, a creative studio dedicated to the art of dream completion. Welcome, Nadia. I'm so happy to have you.
Oh, Timea, I'm so looking forward to this. This is going to be good.
It's a goodie. So first things first, could you tell me what inspired you to write From Dreaming to Done? An excellent title. It caught my eye. This was the thing that was like, this woman needs to be on my podcast.
Yes, yes. So there is a story behind the question. So I'm going to just keep the story succinct, but then it will start making sense. So literally in the year 2003, I started hearing a whisper. I was in my first business, and the first business is a group fitness studio, and it was called Fitness for Body and Soul. And I was writing newsletters, and I was really enjoying it and sharing my wisdom, whatever I wanted to share. And I got this sentence, this whisper. I now call it a dream spark. This dream spark where I'm like, I want to write a book. I want to write a book. That was 2003. I didn't take action until 2007. And then even in 2007, the dream kind of went dormant. Life started happening. And I was 27 at a time. Yeah, 27. And the dream came true at 46 with the first book, but the first book wasn't it. So From Dreaming to Done was the second iteration, and it was a lifelong dream, finally finding the form. Like it grew up. It grew up. It's being what it wants to be because it grew up. That's the question. I mean, that's the story behind the question.
Beautiful. So then what do you think the world needs out of this book? Like everyone, when they write a book, there's a reason behind it. Why do you think this book came into existence? Like, why did Universe Source God put that spark within you to bring this into fruition?
I really love that you asked that because the first book it wasn't failure. It wasn't that it didn't do its purpose. The first book was about awakening. So when the dream awakens, can you trust that dream? Can you follow that dream? Because it's scary. It's often a vision, a dream that doesn't even exist. So you kind of have to trailblaze your path to make it come true. The purpose of the second book was me realizing that the dream had grown into this. Okay, I went through the awakening phase. I wrote a book. It did its thing, but it didn't fully serve that purpose that you so beautifully said, like whatever God, source, universe, love, whatever, wherever that spark comes from, your higher self, your soul, your heart, really guided me to realize that everybody talks about dream activation. Like everybody talks about that. And it's super exciting. It makes you feel alive, possibility, and it's super sexy. But nobody talks about the messy middle. Like nobody talks about what do you do when the dream gets stuck, when it gets messy? How do you get it to all the way done? How do you not stop?
Mhm.
That's the purpose of it.
And I need to say this, the people who are listening, my loves, is this you? Because I know it is. How many of us have these beautiful, abundant dreams, visualizations? You watch The Secret, you read this book, this and that, and you're like, oh my goodness, let's do it. And then we freeze and we stop and it goes nowhere. So, this, my loves, is your nudge that whatever dream is within you, let's please birth it into existence. And that's the entire podcast that we're going to be talking about because there's so many bits and pieces that we can dive into. But let's start here. When we say dream, what do you mean? And is it just a goal, but it's fluffier? Like what are the differences? Tell me what a dream is in your own words.
Yes, and this is literally a question I do get asked when I am in real life, in-person events, and I'm there with my book, and people are walking up and they're curious. And I have been asked, so what is the difference between a goal and a dream? And the way I explained it is society at large is very good at productivity, at dream activation, at like, this is what success looks like. This is what you need to do. And you might have heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, realistic, actionable. What is it? You know the sequence,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
SMART, like
Yes.
timely, realistic. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, you can't tick off a dream. You can't tick off the boxes like that. You can't. If your dream is like, I want to meet my dream partner, you can write down a date all you want, and it can still not happen, right? You can write down all the qualities you want, and you think you meet the person, and they're the opposite of what you wrote down. And so a dream and a goal are not comparable. A goal is something that is actionable, yes.
Mhm.
A goal could be, I'm going to clean my house today. Yes, absolutely.
Check.
Absolutely. That's a
Yeah.
goal. Check. Let's do it. Um, the dream that lives within that house, which is maybe like a harmonious family life, a good relationship with my children, a good relationship with my husband, my spouse, my partner, that you can't check off.
Mhm.
And that's the difference. And there's a developmental journey to a dream. It develops, like it needs to be supported and nurtured and guided and shown. Like you literally have to nurture your dream like a plant. You have to water it,
I
you have
was
to
just
feed
gonna
it.
say, and plants grow at their own rate according to the sunlight, the soil, the like love you give it. And there's just so many nuances. It's not a, you're gonna grow in 3.5 days, and then in 5 days, you're going to X, and then in 8 days, you're in what?
Exactly.
That's not realistic. Absolutely. I love how you said that because I literally was like a plant. So good. Now, before we dive into the anatomy of a dream, because that all of that is amazing, and I can't wait to discuss it, I just want to talk about how do you know a dream is yours versus something that was inherited by family, culture, society, trauma, all of the things. How do you know this is actually my dream and it's meant to be burst into this reality by me?
Yes. Oh, you asked such good questions. I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative. You can notice the difference, and I'm going to really bring it to lived life because I do think that the listeners will be able to relate to a dream versus a goal, a dream that is mine versus something that isn't mine. And I'm going to then again share from my story because I think this our stories are universal and we can relate to each other in that way.
Mhm.
So I really learned this the hard way in the sense of I was always very, very ambitious and I always had there was this thing inside of me from a very young age. And I think it does have to do with my father planting the seed of possibility via the law of attraction, what is now called manifesting world, The Secret, the documentary. But he planted that 40 years ago before it was mainstream. So
Mhm.
he made me dream, and I'm really appreciative. So I always had this like, I'm going to live my best life and I'm going to follow my dreams and I'm going to make it real. So I did. But what do? Naturally, you look outside of you and you're like, there's existing systems and structures. And then society at large, and I always say society at large because it's conditioning. We get told in kindergarten, in school, in college, in our workplace, by our parents, by our friends, we get told what success looks like. And then it can be the typical, I'm really going to pull it into the very extreme to make a point.
Yeah.
It can be like, oh, I'm going to have the degree. So I'm going to finish school with these grades. Then I'm going to have the degree. Then I'm going to have the income. Then I'm going to have the relationship. Then I'm going to buy the house. Then I'm going to do the vacation. Then I'm going to have the luxury products. And all of that can come true. And two things can happen. You
Mm.
can successfully have it and live in it and actually be thriving in it.
Yeah.
But there's like an emptiness inside of you. And there's like, why do I have all these things? Why are all my dreams in quotation marks come true? And I am so unhappy. And then, because it's not truly the essence of who you are, it's not truly the essence of your talents and gifts and skill set. So that's one variation. What happened to me, sadly, was that it took so much effort, so much time, energy, and money to make these dreams that aren't mine come true. It was like pushing like a big rock up the hill, up the hill, up the hill. And I literally got it all the way up. That's where it would manifest in the sense,
Yeah.
outside world. And then my whole body started shaking, like my arms started shaking because it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
And I dropped the rock ball and it went all the way back down the hill. That's the picture I want to give you. That's when you realize, no, because I would self-actualize and manifest,
Hmm.
but I would hate it. I would hate it at the end. And that's how I tell the difference. And I'm sure the listeners have some sort of experience where they might have gotten a degree or a job or a paycheck or a certain something, but it didn't make them all the way fulfilled and happy.
No, that makes sense. Now, do you think that if the universe throws in more obstacles and plot twists, then it's not the universe is testing you, but the universe is like, wrong decision. This is not it. What are
Mm-hmm.
your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a thought that I call the preservation chamber
Hmm.
in the From Dreaming to Done soul map spiral. So you've got the dream spark, you've got the soul. Yes, you spiral step in is the first action you're taking. Now these obstacles are coming up, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah. Like, what is this? Yeah.
what is it's what do you do? Like, how do you preserve a dream when the going gets tough, is what I say. And when it happened to me, I didn't immediately um, think, oh my gosh, this is an obstacle. This is not meant to be. Because if it was meant to be, then it would be easy. Because I think there's, again, two ways this could go. There's a group of people that does think, oh my gosh, this is way too hard. If it was meant for me, is supposed to be easy, which there is a truth to it,
Hmm.
but it's not as easy. It's not as black and white,
No.
right? Um, and then they give up, and then the dream dies because they give up. Well, it wasn't meant to be. And then they go chasing the next dream. And then because they stop whenever it gets hard, then they're just chasing dreams. They never actually get to do anything with it.
Yeah.
My challenge, my challenges personally, so this is now also from personal experience, they asked me to grow and expand and stretch in ways that showed me that the outside challenge was just a direct mirror to what's happening inside of me.
Absolutely.
And that part is hard because it's invisible. Like you have an invisible architecture. I call it architecture now because it's like
Mhm.
a structure
Yeah.
that is not supporting the dream, and it's outdated. Like it needs to go. We need to rebuild.
Hmm. No, I love that. And I do think that I mean, for one, nothing in life is black or white, nothing. And that's what people are always looking for. Because then if it's a yes or a no and it's a check mark, and it's like, no, that's not real life. But I think that there's this very fine balance between the universe is letting you know you're on the wrong path versus the universe is pushing you to stay on the path you're supposed to be on. But for you to have something you never had before, you have to become someone you've never been before, which means there is unlearning and reconditioning and rebuilding the architecture of your psyche for you to
Yeah.
get there. So I do think it's important for our listeners to be really aware that just because the going gets tough doesn't mean it's not the right path. It's getting past that midpoint and that like uncomfortable sensation, the resistance where you're out of your comfort zone doing something new. But that's
Yes.
normal,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Mm,
Yes. There is that connection to your heart and to your soul that will communicate via whispers, and they're very soft, so you can overhear them very easily because the
uh-huh.
world is noisy and intuition is soft. And you know in your body what is aligned and misaligned.
Yeah.
So I would love to expand on that question. One way I know now, after all that, where I realized, oh, it really called me into growth and expansion and uncomfortable kind of growth, so that I can overcome the challenge. And then I overcame the challenge. And then I learned that there is alignment and misalignment. So now I'm going to give the analogy of when 2-year-olds, when they learn spatial intelligence and they have to put squares into the right shape and circles into the right shape and triangles. Now imagine misalignment, alignment like this. You've got a triangular shape, but you're like trying to jam it into a circle. And you're like, ah, ah, ah. But no, you're a triangle. You're not a circle. You're a triangle. But you're like, ah, ah, ah.
Yeah.
That for me is the analogy, the picture of alignment and misalignment. And just be a triangle. It's okay. And you
Yeah.
don't have to be a circle. A circle is beautiful as well, but you're a beautiful triangle. So
Yeah. And I think the learning part for us, even when we're not two, when we're full adults, is learning that there are circles and there's triangles and they're both great. But if you're continuously shoving that triangle into the circular hole, at some point you're going to have to learn it's not your slot. Get out of that room, get out of that
yeah,
relationship, get out of that job. And at some point you need to know. And I do think that
yeah,
for people to know the difference, you need to check in with your physical body and your heart space of, am I forcing or is this the path? And I think that if you
yes,
really do ask yourself honestly and then honestly listen, everyone has the answer. But sometimes, changing your job or leaving a relationship is terrifying. So it's easier to ignore that calling
mm-hmm. Yes,
for sure.
I agree with you. And earlier you did say something about, the conditioning. So
Yeah.
now imagine you've been conditioned into the identity of a triangle, but you're
Mhm.
truly heart and soul a square. There's that unlearning that needs to happen and that permission slip to allow yourself to be who you truly are. And
Absolutely.
that's a process.
Especially for women, because we are culturized and socialized, and also within our DNA, we're wanting to be loved and accepted and be within a group. So for us to do something that will throw us out of a group is very jarring. So if you don't have the
Mhm.
flexibility in the nervous system, it's very challenging to do that. Hence, doing that inner work is so, so, so important. Now, what would you
Yes.
say is important for someone to start this process if they're not, they know they're in misalignment, they don't know what step to take, but they don't know where to
Mhm.
begin. And I mean, great news, there's a lot of information online. Bad news, there's a lot of information online, and it can get very overstimulating very fast. Where does someone
Yes.
begin if they know something's not working and there is a dream, but they
Yes.
haven't connected to it?
Yes. So now we'll get a little bit into how I like to address it. And I have a lot of favorite quotes that I use. And
Yeah.
in this case, I'm going to use Albert Einstein.
Mm.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting
Amen.
different results.
Amen. Yep.
It's the first stop we have to take. So it will take a completely new approach because you've tried. I know the listener. I know the listener has tried a lot of things, has done a lot of things, has accomplished a lot of things. And there are a lot of things that they're super proud about, but they are also like at a threshold of something new, because that's also the nature of dreams. We complete and finish one, and then we stay there a little while and we celebrate, and then we have a new dream, and then it's stretching us again uncomfortably. And the part where we have to realize, if you knew how to do it, you would have solved whatever you're facing by now. And that takes me to Albert Einstein again. The second thing he said is, you cannot solve a problem with the same
Mm.
mind that created the problem. So we
Yep.
cannot fix this. It's literally not a mind thing. And I know you do beautiful work yourself, Timea, and you work with the nervous system and the body and somatic. And so the body has answers, right? The nervous system has answers. It's just something that we don't get taught in school. So we definitely need a new solution. And the way that I go about it is with creative leadership. So literally with creative exercises. So my approach, and I do share this approach in my book, From Dreaming to Done, A Soul Map for Finishing What You Were Born to Do. At every end of the chapter, there's a creative process
Mm.
that chapter by chapter by chapter is like a treasure hunt. And it's you and the creative process. Nobody's telling you what to be. So you get to put your truest version, like your heart and soul, the truest version right now into these exercises. And then I want you to imagine them like a map where you're that's why it's called a soul map for finishing what you were born to do. You're going to create your own treasure map, and your creative process, your art in that moment is going to show you, oh, that's what I need to do. Oh, that's what I really want. Oh, that's where the challenge shows up. And then once you have it as a beautiful, it's not a vision board because your mind didn't create it. That's often the thing that goes wrong with vision boards.
Hmm.
It's your body and your intuition and your art and your creativity that actually creates that map. So
Yeah.
you're doing something new, right? So you're not doing insanity, you're trying something new. And then you're not trying to solve it with the mind, you're actually solving it with your creative genius.
Beautiful. And that's a big thing that I think a lot of women miss is you are so wise and intuitive, but from a young age, you've been taught to disconnect from your body. It's like your period is shamed, and why are you slower when you're menstruating? Well, because you are, like you need more rest. Obviously, oh, you're too emotional, you're too much. And then all of a sudden we shove that down and we disconnect. So for us to do the somatic work and to reconnect with our bodies, your answers are right there, but they're not in your logical cognition in your brain. It's like disconnect from the brain, get into your body, and then connect to that creative process.
Yes, I love listening to you as well, how you explain things.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, we need to get into the anatomy of a dream. I'm a
Yes.
science nerd, and the fact that you said anatomy, I was like, oh, are we doing something spiritual and nerdy at the same time? You mean it's perfect for me? Tell me everything. So, what are the stages of the dream? How do you bring it to life? And the way you've worded it, I was blown away. And this was one of those big things where I'm like, okay, my listeners need to know about this because it's genius. So, please explain.
Oh, I'm so excited. I love talking about this. So I want to ground it. It is because it depends who I'm talking with, right? If I'm talking with someone that doesn't bridge science and personal transformation in the way that you do, when they don't, they might like be very strict with me and say, this is not correct. How can you use this language,
Mhm.
right? How can you say, because technically a dream is invisible. So how can there be an anatomy?
Yeah.
So I want to ground it into our body first. So our body is we can grasp it, we can touch it, we can feel it. Sometimes we have a backache and we're like, ouch, that hurts, right? We have a headache, but it's all very, very like, yes, it's tangible. What is less tangible is when it goes beyond the body, but it's still in the body. It still lives in the body. So the body has a mind, has a heart, which has emotions. And in that body, mind, heart, emotion, there's also that purpose, like what's the meaning of my life? And then there's the soul and the higher self. So now we're going from the bottom that is very tangible and touchable, and we can have surgeries and we can have be it plastic surgery or medical surgery, like we can do all these things. But we go into the realm of the intangible, right? And then all of a sudden it becomes invisible. Just because it's invisible doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I just want to have that as a disclaimer. If there
Mhm.
is someone out there, because I have been criticized, right? When I'm using this
Not on this
symbolic lens,
podcast. We are very woo. We are into
I,
this and we are listening. Okay. Not
I
on
am
this
so glad.
podcast. Give it to
I
us.
am I am so glad you are
Good.
my people.
Yes.
So the anatomy of a dream is really to give it a body, to give it a body where there's literally a developmental journey, just like a little baby needs to be breastfed and needs to be developed and supported and strengthened and guided and shown. A dream is the same way. So the first phase of the anatomy of a dream is the awakening phase, which we already talked about.
Mhm.
It's the dream spark, the soul, yes. And it's the
Mhm.
phase of, can I really trust this dream? And it's takes courage because you might find yourself in a position where society tells you, oh, but you're successful. You've got the career, you've got the house, you've got the partner, whatever it may be. So why do you want, like, why are you not grateful? Why do you want more? And so that's the awakening phase. it can get stuck right there. It can literally suffocate and die like a plant that doesn't get water and nourishment and nurturing. Or you develop the courage because your heart and soul are just like yearning, and you develop the courage as a human to say, okay, I'm doing this, right? So you soul yes, spiral step in, I'm doing this. Now you're actually going to be in the preservation chamber because you're becoming someone new.
Mhm.
Now you're in the second phase, which is the identity. Like, who do you need to become to
Ooh,
hold
yeah.
the new dream? Because you might have learned to be and become that very successful version of you in your old life, but that is a different version of you that cannot do the next version of you, right? So in that identity phase, that's where it's very messy. And the
Absolutely. And
best,
that's where people get scared and they turn back.
yes, exactly.
Uh-huh.
You are so right. It's scary and they turn back. And then the best analogy for that phase of the anatomy of a dream is it really is like the caterpillar, who the caterpillar has it in its DNA. It's born for it. It's born to be a butterfly. That's why I say what you're born to do, right? And the caterpillar has the natural instinct to
Mhm.
just know I need to cocoon. I need to cocoon. And I need to have this safe space and this time with myself. And then literally it turns to mush and soup. It literally is, it turns into something completely unknown.
Mhm.
And then it turns into the butterfly, right? So that is the best analogy for transformation because it gives us that literal picture. So we can have compassion with ourselves when we're in the
Yeah.
hot mess. We can say, I'm just a hot mess soup right now, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
And that's also just a reminder that there's no other way to get to the beautiful, abundant part. You have to be messy. You have to shatter, let go, and relearn, and not necessarily hit rock bottom, but your life needs to change if you want it to change.
Yes, yes. It is definitely the part where it's what it takes. And then I also really do like to approach things with, I do think we are all deeply human dreamers. And I say deeply human because it's hard. It's hard sometimes. And then it doesn't help if we're hard on ourselves too. So I
Yes.
like to approach it like
Yeah.
with a bold compassion kind of approach.
Yeah.
And I would self-soothe and self-talk to myself in that way when I was
Yeah.
hitting, like I would nurture myself. And I would imagine things like this. I'm like, look, the caterpillar did it, right? They had it in their DNA. They cocooned, they created this the safe space, and you'll get through it, right? So I would talk to myself that way. You'll get through it. Just keep showing up. And you can trust, just like the caterpillar just trusts that natural force that is inside of them. Like
Yeah.
you can trust that natural force to get you through. You
Yeah.
got it.
So then, what do you think it takes to, I guess, work your way through the messy middle and to keep the endurance to keep going? What
Yes.
is missing or what can make it gentler?
Yes, absolutely. You do need something that pulls you through, right? I do like to work with pictures because they can land in the body. They not so mental. So the next picture I want to give you, you've got, I hope I have the right word. Sometimes as a German, I don't use the right word, so you'll tell me.
Mhm.
Is there such a thing as quicksand where you can
Yes,
sink in? Is that
yes,
the word
we have quick
quicksand?
set. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So imagine you are somewhere out in nature and all of a sudden there's quicksand you didn't know and you're like, "Oh my gosh, you're sinking." And then someone else is coming to save you in that moment with a rope. And then the rope is really messy and really scary and oh my gosh, I'm sinking, I'm sinking, I'm sinking. But then there's this rope that's pulling you out. So you definitely need that kind of rope. And I'm going to share what it was for me. So I'm literally just going to share what it was for me to maybe help the listeners. And you'll, as the listener, obviously find your own.
Mhm.
What it was for me was I was born with an internal pressure to self actualize my potential. So that was literally something I was born with. And that pressure was something I didn't have words for a very long time. So it was just pressure, pressure, pressure. And from the outside world, it was pressure to grow, pressure to expand, pressure to make my dreams come true, just also restlessness. And from the outside world, I was often viewed as someone that is scattered, that is always changing, that is always like, I was criticized.
Mm.
But now I'm going to share with you what that pressure actually was, because at 59, no, 49, so I'm 51 now, 2 years
Mhm.
ago, I actually found the words for that pressure, and that is what pulled me through.
Okay.
So the words that I found, I was listening to a talk, and this talk was called, I forget, something about being your authentic self.
Mhm.
And in that talk, the lady, Monica, she introduced me to the number one regret of the dying.
Mm.
And this was, I think, a study by a nurse in a hospice where she
Yeah.
interviewed 100 people. Um, and the number one regret of the dying was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the expectations of others.
Yeah.
And my pressure was, I have all this potential. I have all these gifts inside of me. I am, and literally now I have the words. It was that visceral, I am not dying with this potential
Yeah.
unlived. So
Yeah.
that was so much stronger. That's a different kind of fear. That's
Yeah.
the fear like I'm so that kind of fear pulled me through the fear of the messy.
Yeah.
Like it was harder to not actually make my dreams come true than to face what I'm scared of in life. Does
Absolutely.
that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense because I think we're conditioned to be accepted, loved, and be the people pleaser and keep up with the Joneses and what's everyone else doing. And then we get caught in that. But then, I mean, I am a nurse, so I'm going to be really blunt. You don't know how long you have on this planet. We think we're going to live until, the average of 80 something. But I had somebody close to me die, and he's 40, my age. And it was just absolutely out of nowhere. And it's like, he's gone. That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like morbid, but like, babes, you could die at any point. And we get stuck in, wanting to look a certain way and get our check marks, but then we're not even happy with those check marks. So you got to do what makes you happy, and people won't understand you, but then a lot of people will, and you're just assuming they won't. Right?
Yes.
Huge,
Yes.
huge. Now, you also talk about nervous system capacity and physical capacity, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that because that's something that I am very, very passionate about. And it's a lack of capacity that I think is holding people back because their awareness is everywhere else in places they shouldn't be. So tell me your
Mm.
perspective on this.
Yes. I really do appreciate and love that we are at that threshold, and zeitgeist, that's a German word, and it just
Yeah.
means that it's a spirit of the time where everybody is starting to talk about nervous system regulation and nervous system capacity and expansion. And I don't talk about it in that way. For
Yeah.
for me, it came into my work through the creative process. So I
Mm.
was in a creative process myself, and I was doing. So I'm a certified soul art guide. That's where I learned the creative processes that I guide my clients through, and I was doing the process myself, and it was called a root to rise process.
Mm.
Root to rise. Root into the challenge of something, and that's where your nervous system will go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, right? Like the survival. And you create in that creative process, though, you create this very safe bubble. It is a cocoon. Like you're allowed to go to the challenge, but you feel safe. So you don't actually go into hyper mode. And
Mhm.
so I'm creating my art and I'm writing my book. It literally was while I was writing my book.
Mhm.
And I'm connecting to something that feels like a tree inside of me. That feels like, yeah, just flowing through me. And I'm writing and I'm feeling and I'm doing the process. And all of a sudden I'm finding the words and I'm like, oh, nervous system, expansion,
Yeah.
capacity, regulation. And then I found a picture of what the nervous system actually looks like in the body. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks like
Looks like
tree
a tree.
roots.
Yeah.
Looks like a tree. So this is how I discover. So it's important to me
Yeah.
because I know you're a science nerd and you're a nurse and you'll be able to explain it in a completely different way.
Mhm.
For me, it was literally embodied discovery. So it
Oh,
became embodied discovery, and I started learning what my body feels like in survival mode, what my body feels like in regulated mode. And now when I talk about dream completion, I also talk from that lived experience of we can root into a challenge to rise And we can do it in a very coherent and regulated way. Regulated way doesn't mean we don't face challenges, but
Totally.
it means that we don't freak out and panic and go into hustle mode and survival mode, right? We
Mhm.
take a minute, we step back, and we can become comfortable with the expansion, the nervous system capacity. Everybody wants it, but it's not comfortable.
No, no. Well, it's being something you've never been before. And if you were raised in chaos, if you were raised in uncertainty and you thrive in that and you're proud of thriving in that, if all of a sudden things get easier, then you've shifted your identity and then your self-worth will shift as well. And I do think it's important the way you mentioned nervous system capacity is more important than nervous system regulation because I think people don't realize that the point isn't to just be namaste, love, and light and just calm. That's not real life. No. Real life is something dysregulates you and you can come back. But then to come back and to do it faster is the capacity. And if you have no capacity, then if life throws you a curveball because it will, and that's life, you just crumble. But if you have the flexibility, and that's something I would rather talk about in your system, flexibility and expansion versus regulation, because regulation is not realistic.
Yes. So when I talk about it in my work, it is in a creative process, and I don't necessarily use science terms or
Mhm.
things like that. I use symbolism and language that is more creative and
Mhm.
gives you a picture. So
Mhm.
that's why, and I did my own process. That's what feels so magical. My intuition, my heart and soul were showing me a tree. I didn't know. I literally didn't know because I'm not a nurse, right? I didn't study the same. I did not know that the nervous system looks like a tree in the body. It
I
blew my mind when I
love
discovered
that. Love
that.
that.
It,
It's so excellent. And it's also, I mean, I'm a visual person, so for me that really works. But when you're using symbolisms and metaphors, you're actually speaking to your subconscious, which means it's landing on a deeper level for your clients and for the listeners, which I think is also so powerful. And let's not forget when it comes to a tree, the tree is stronger the deeper the roots. And you don't want to just be top heavy where you have this like huge, beautiful, abundant top, but you don't have a root system because when there's a storm or there's wind, they'll just topple over. And hence nervous system again is so important because it roots you into one, the earth, universe, divine, but then also into your body. Oh, it's so, so beautiful. I love that visual. So good. Amazing. Now you mentioned, yeah, I know, right? You mentioned soul health. What do you mean by that?
so I like to create words for things that I'm
I
feeling
love it.
inside.
I am here for it.
Really think deserve to be talked about, but don't exist in society at large.
Mm.
And my background comes, as I already shared previously, my very first business at the age of 24 was fitness for body and soul. But interesting, hello, soul was there right from the start, right? It wasn't just a fitness studio, it was fitness for body and soul. And it already always fascinated me that human operating system of body, mind, heart, emotion, purpose, and soul. And for me personally, I always am surprised when people approach me. When I did my health and wellness coaching degree in Germany, we did a little exercise about like what you like about each other. And I had in my little letter, because we would go around and we'd write it, I had multiple times where people said, "Oh, you're so spiritual. I like that about you. You're so spiritual. You're
Mm.
so spiritual." And it really kind of boggled my mind because I'm like, what do you mean? I'm yeah, but what do you mean? I'm
Yeah.
so, it really has kind of followed me. I'm like, okay, fine, but I'm also a human being. I'm very practical and grounded. So
Mm.
why do I keep hearing this? So I finally got why people, and it's okay. Like I've made peace with it. It used to bother me a lot because it made me feel like you only see one little part of me. I actually don't talk about spirituality. I talk about wholeness. Because what's the point of being spiritual if I'm not rich in real life? I can be spiritually rich if I don't have money in my bank account. What's the point?
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And so soul health came because of the realization. It actually came with when I created my podcast, when I launched it, it was like, what do I want to call it? And then I realized, so I went from fitness for body and soul to all different kinds of body versions. And then, as I mentioned, I did my health and wellness coaching diploma. I actually work as a corporate health coach, and
Mm,
I would talk to people about the body, body, body. And you as a nurse know this. I mean, what you talk about is blood pressure and diabetes and being overweight. And what was a big thing was mental health and depression and all those kind of things. And I was always only talking about the body. And I was like, people, this is me. People, you're talking about the symptom. It's not the root cause.
yep.
Like you're trying to put a plaster on the symptom, but you're never going to make it go away. So that's when I realized that my worldview, and that's probably why people perceive me as spiritual by nature, is that I am a soul incarnated in a physical human body.
Yep.
That is how I walk through life. So I'm a soul first.
Mhm.
So when I approach health, which to me, health is not just the body, it's not just blood pressure, it's that operational system, that whole multi-dimension. So that's why I came up with Soul Health, and the podcast is called Soul Health Mentor, because I wanted to give myself permission to talk
Yeah.
about things from the perspective of soul
Mm.
as a deeply human being, right?
Beautiful. And I think it's kind of funny that it would bother you and trigger you to be seen as spiritual. And then that ended up being the missing link of your entire purpose. And I just
Mm.
think that's so funny. The universe always has a sense of humor. In the moment, not funny. In hindsight, it is funny. So I love that that came to be. And it's so true. When people come to me, they're like, "Oh, I'm struggling with my fertility. I'm struggling with pain. I'm struggling with anxiety." And then rather than being like, "Well, here's a medication," or like, "Here's one practice and just do it." I'm always like, "Why? Why is that there? What is the root? Where did it show up? Is it yours?" And we're just not asking the right questions. And I love being a nurse, but it definitely bothers me that some really important questions aren't being asked in the healthcare system and nothing is preventative. I mean, that's its own
Yeah,
entire topic, but I'm just like, we're missing a huge point in the healing journey. Yeah.
absolutely. I 100% agree.
Amazing. Now, what about living your joy? As we discussed in our own private conversation, joy is so important to both of us. I mean, hello, Discover Your Joy, the podcast. So tell me in your
Mhm.
own words what living your joy is.
Yes. So here I have to go to my German roots. So Germans have certain words
Mhm.
that I have to explain in English. And they have a word called Lebenskünstler, which just means life's artist.
Mhm.
And they have a word called Herzensmensch, which
Mhm.
you would translate to heart-centered human, but that doesn't really say anything. So a Herzensmensch is someone where their heart is the sovereign leader, where
Ooh,
you always choose
yeah,
by your heart. Your
yeah.
heart will always win. So I always identified with those words. I always was a Lebenskünstler, life's artist. I always was a Herzensmensch, following my heart as the sovereign creator. And I can actually link that to a question you asked me earlier. How do you know if something is your dream or not? And whenever I was meeting my dream, oh, it makes me come alive with joy.
Yeah.
And in German, the German word is called Lebensfreude, which means joy of life. So
Mm.
it's just an expansion. So if I follow my joy through life,
Yeah.
it's my compass. It's my
Yes.
compass through life.
Yes. And I think that's also why people are overweight because they're eating away their emotions and trying to shove everything down. This is why people have mental health issues. It's like your body is screaming because it's either so sad or so overwhelmed, living a life you don't enjoy, but the life you think you should have and the life you're forcing upon yourself because that's what everyone else is doing. And we've forgotten that this body has wisdom and intuition, and your heart and soul will let you know where to go, but that's scary. Let's not do it. And then all of us are unwell. And it's like, are we? Or are we just not listening? Oh, that's so beautiful.
Like,
Thank you for saying it the way you did. I don't know if I told you, but I speak German. So it's like for me, those words really land. And it makes me like I was born in Switzerland. That's why. But it's so funny because the English language is so simple and there's so many words we don't have. And like I speak Hungarian, and also Hungarians, they have so many words that I'm like, ah, English, we're missing some words. Like definitely missing some words. Now, I want you
Awesome.
there you go, full circle. I want to know what you think about all the motivational content that's out there. Or even I know we
Mhm.
mentioned this on our own discussion, the soft girl era. So it's like you're not taking
Mm.
action, it's just coming to you. You're just manifesting your connection to the divine. Important, all of it. But tell me how that prevents you from bringing your dream life.
Yes. I think I have to be honest. Like
Mhm.
when you first shared that with me, like
Yeah,
soft girl era, I'm like, what? It was
I know.
really confusing. It was like really confusing. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
What are you talking about? And you had to explain it to me. So
yeah,
it literally wasn't on the radar.
yeah.
And now that you would ask me, I do have to say it like this. I was
Mhm.
introduced to the idea of dreams and manifesting and having potential that my dad and my mom didn't call it potential. That's the language that I like developed. But basically, that's what they were craving. They were
Yeah.
craving more possibilities. So what I saw in my parents was hyperbole, right? I hope I say
Mhm.
that right. Like it was always so exaggerated.
Yeah.
And for me, uh, that is exaggerated. Like a soft era, like I just have to. Uh, sit at home in my pajamas and just visualize what I wanted, it's going to come and find me. That is not grounded in reality. And it also robs you of your human experience.
Yeah.
So it is a bubble you live in. And my parents, unfortunately, lived in that bubble
Mhm.
with a lot of pain, with the same challenges over and over again in their lives, which was relationship challenge and money challenge.
Mhm.
So I have to be truly honest with you. I cannot relate and I cannot even say anything properly so that's why I'm sharing. I can't really
Yeah.
say anything
Yeah.
enlightening. What I can say though, the motivation part, that part I can speak to.
Mhm.
It's just hype. It's empty. Information, like it's beautiful, inspirational information that
Mhm.
motivates you, but information without action stays just that information. You can say the same. Motivation without action stays just that motivation. And it puffs like it's an illusion.
Absolutely. And I think it's part of the white or black way of thinking because some people are so in the spiritual realm and just like, I'm manifesting it, it's coming to me, and what's mine will find me. And then there's some people who go too far into the hustle, the go, 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 the grinding, the like thirst energy. And it's like you're suffocating your dream. So, how do you land in the middle? And how can you make that feel safe in your body? Because I feel like different people will have a pull towards one of those poles. So how do you land in the middle?
Yes, that I can give you a very good answer in the sense where I found the middle because I did tell, like, my family of origin was the one extreme.
Mhm.
Yes, I did go into the hustle because I was chasing other people's dreams
Yeah.
for me, right? And then I landed in the middle by actually realizing for me, it is now about a healthy relationship between masculine and feminine. And not masculine and feminine as a gender, but masculine and feminine as an energy, as in the Tao, the yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
So a male can still have feminine energy living inside of them, of course, as intuition, and a female can have masculine energy living inside of her as action or provider or doer. So
Yeah.
the best way that I've come to terms with this is that my dream is the essence, right? The
Mm.
essence of what I want. And that is that is what the soft woman era is feeling into is
Yeah.
the essence.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But let me give you a picture about like in childbirth, the essence of a child is when masculine and feminine come together and they create together.
Mhm.
That's the essence that births the child. And that's the same with, so you can't just be in one side. Imagine your dream as the essence, as the spark that wants to grow and be nurtured like a plant or a child. And then it turns into artwork. And that artwork all this time had a frame. And the masculine is just the frame.
Yep.
The and the masculine gives the structure, the action, the aligned action. And there's also a lot of toxic masculinity in our world. So that's
Right.
also, it's not the hustle, it's not the control, that's the toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
It's the healthy masculine, the healthy feminine working together. That for me is the solution of the balance. And to answer your question, to do that, you have to know what is healthy feminine, what is toxic feminine, what is healthy masculine, what is toxic masculine, and then you marry the two.
Also, it's what it is for you. I'm a
Mhm.
generator in human design, so my capacity to create is kind of crazy. Like I can go, 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 and it's not a hustle girl boss. Like I'm not grinding in a bad way, but I don't feel well if I don't burn a lot of energy, and a lot of energy comes through creative work. So for me, that's normal. If you're not a generator, you're like, what in God's name? Like that
Yeah.
is not for me. So again, I think it's important for everyone to be in touch with their body, their needs, and how they function. Now, the other big
Absolutely.
question that I think people get caught in, and I'm very lovingly going to call out some of my listeners, how about the people who get stuck in the healing loop? One more certificate, one more, I got to read this one more book. I'm not ready yet. Perfectionism. And they're just like, I just got to heal a little bit more and then I'll manifest my dream. Thoughts?
Yes. Yes. I'm definitely a and person and not an either or.
Beautiful.
So what I want to reflect to the listener is you're choosing an either or. So you're literally choosing
Mm,
I am healing at the cost of what you actually want.
yeah.
So I'm focusing on either right now, right? Because there's a belief inside of you that you have to focus on this to get that. But what if it's an and? What if
Love
it's
it.
I can do the healing work, but I can do the empowerment work of taking action on my own behalf at the same time. So I don't ever have to be in this healing loop. And it's like a carrot, like literally, it's a self fulfilling prophecy of never getting what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you've created in a healing loop. And it's very easy to open you up just by the perspective of you've chosen either or. Is that a choice you want to stick with?
Yeah.
Or do you want to maybe embrace the and? Because I definitely want to embrace the
Yeah.
and. I'm also always still healing. Also, of course, we're human,
Yeah.
but I'm always in the and. I'm like healing
Mm.
and I'm doing it, right?
Amen. And I really hope that the listeners heard that. So you might want to pause, rewind, listen to that again, because I think that is so important where you do the inner work and you're creating and you show up before it's done and perfect. And the duality of it's working and I love it, and I'm so scared and it doesn't make sense. And oh my God, I'm becoming someone new and it's so exciting. Oh my God, I'm letting go of something old and I'm grieving my old ways of being. And, and, and. And that's again the gray zone. That's life. That's adulting. That's us humans in Earth School doing our thing. Oh my goodness, that was mm, perfection. I'm so glad you said it that way. So, 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 so good. Oh my goodness, amazing. So, anything else that you want to share before I wrap us up?
It's been such a pleasure.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
really,
same.
you weren't kidding. This was such a good and juicy and nourishing conversation. And I really do believe that it's going to be a very valuable podcast episode for your listeners. And it's just an honor to have been here. There's nothing that I can think of because you've done a really good job. I loved
Thank
your
you.
questions.
Thank you. I really love having guests. I'm not going to lie. I'm a chatty Cathy, and I'm glad that it resonated. So good. So, a couple rapid fire questions. What is one dream you are currently working on?
Oh, it's my next book and my lived experience. So I'll be completely transparent. I know it's rapid fire and I'm supposed to
Yes.
say this fast, but
No.
currently,
Yes.
but currently I am facing the reality that my dream did come at a cost, like saying all these things that I shared. I'm 51 years old. A lot of midlife women face this threshold of, oh my goodness, my body is telling me you can't do it this way. So
Mm,
I'm at the edge of this dream, living in an empowered body, not a survival body,
mm,
and literally walking the path of that reality from dreaming to done. So I'm literally facing my survival body with all the symptoms, with all the hurts, with all the pain. But I
mm,
trust my own process so that I can heal and empower so
yeah.
I can live in that. That's currently the
Mm.
dream I'm facing.
Most of my listeners are in their 40s, 50s, and like into early 60s. So this is going to hit. And I want everyone to know that just because we're quotations aging, which is the purpose of life, you don't just give up on your dreams. You buckle down and you do it because you can. So thank you for saying that. Is there something you're currently letting go of? Is there a limiting belief that you are in process of letting go of to be able to step into this new version of the dream that you're calling in?
I am letting go of survival body. It literally is a pattern. It's like really deep.
Yeah.
And the simplest way to put it, I'm letting go of coffee first thing in the morning
Never.
because it's
Yeah.
borrowed.
Yeah.
It is energy that my body no longer has, and I'm hyping it up because it's survival.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So that it's because then if I don't have coffee, I will eat properly. If I have coffee, I don't eat properly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm letting go.
Yeah. And this is the power of slowing down, realizing your body, your patterns, what serves you, what doesn't, making those decisions. And then it clicks for you, not because someone online, an influencer who doesn't know what they're talking about, is giving you like a blanket statement advice. So I love that you said that. Okay. Finish the sentence. People get stuck on their dream because.
Ooh, people get stuck on the dream because they think it needs to look a certain way.
Yeah. Okay. Dreams become reality when.
Dreams become reality when you follow your heart and soul as compass.
Mm. What brings you joy?
Oh man, so many things. This brought me so much joy. Dancing, hiking, good food, heartfelt connection, which I really felt today. And I think the listeners will feel it too. So they will be
Yeah.
getting lots of joy.
Yeah.
And to wrap that all up is really the joy that you find in heartfelt connection, whatever that may look like.
Amen. Beautiful. Nadia, this was such an incredible conversation. Where can my listeners find you? Share where you are hiding on the internet so they can discover you. Tell us that before we close off.
Thank you. So there's two places you can find me. You can find me in my virtual home since 2014. It's happywholesomelife.com. But you can also Google Soul Health Mentor on Linktree, and you'll find a more modern version. The 2014 version, obviously, it's an older website, but I love it. It's dear to me. It's the
Yeah.
home for so many years.
Yes.
And Soul Health Mentor on Linktree is the modern version.
Beautiful. Oh, Nadia, you're an angel. I'm so glad I met you and I'm so glad you're here. Listeners, if you love this, please leave us a review, share this with a friend. And there's another podcast coming where Nadia is going to actually interview me. So we'll link that below so you can listen to both of them. Thanks, my loves, for being here, and I'll see you guys next time.